everyone. Welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. If you are looking at the bearded one, that means it is Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 6 out in Mountain Time, 5 out in the Pacific Coast, 2 out in Hawaii, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning out in Indonesia, and anywhere between 9 and noon tomorrow out in Australia. Welcome, everybody, to the show called Stuff I Never Learned from the Schoolbook. I am your host, Tom Springer. It has been a while since I have been on, so if you are a return victim, thank you for coming back. Welcome, family. Much appreciated. If you are new to the show, welcome to the show. Again, my name is Tom Springer. You will hear that a billion times. This is a show that kind of brings on everybody and anybody who other people would kind of call strange, odd, or weird, but we all know it's just an awakening that's happening, and we are here to support each other. So, with that said, after my long break, I am going to go ahead and bring on my next guest, and I've had the ability to wrangle her a little bit. I'm going to say I kind of had to convince her, so I had to use I don't know how to say this, but she was kind of like, how did you find me first? And then she was like, oh, we have same friends. Okay, cool. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in Angie. So everybody say hi to Angie. Welcome, Angie. And let's get talking to Angie. Hi, Angie. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So there's a lot of people already popping in. I'm going to come throw some of these up. This is Stuart. He's my older gentleman out of Texas. He's saying hi to everybody. Hi. Miss Rosie's saying hello to everybody. She's calling us strangers because we haven't seen each other since the end of March. So it literally has been a little over a month. There's my beautiful wife, Nicole. She's popping in to say hi. Miss Christie's popping in to say hi. And we can do this. I'll do this for a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and cut off and we'll start talking. Here's Miss Primal. Hi, how are you? She's popping back in. Miss Sandy's popping in to say hello. Yeah, it's been a while. I know I've been gone for a bit. So thank you, everybody. Miss Rebecca White is popping in to say hello. So this is going to kind of happen for a while, but I'll go ahead and introduce you and say hi to you and everybody else. So this is Miss Angie Ramsey, and she was nice enough to say hi and agree to come onto the show. And she is my first guest back after being gone for a little over a month. I have been talking with her earlier, kind of get to know each other a little bit. But I also had started following her stuff a little bit. So get ready for me to throw up her banners and everything where everyone can find everything and stuff like that. Other than that, Angie, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
If you, we did have, I will give full disclosure to the audience earlier. We did break the internet once already, so it may happen again. If it does, don't worry. She'll come out and come back in, and I'll just entertain you with stupid jokes like I normally do. But please do me a favor and introduce who you are. And then please tell everybody what you do and how you got started doing it.
Okay. So as Tom said, my name is Angie Ramsey, and I am a psychic medium. Now, I've not always been a psychic medium. It started whenever I was 4 years old and I got struck by lightning. It wasn't a direct hit. I was in my my grandmother's house, and I was laying beside my dad's CB tower, receiver box. He had one of those really, really tall towers out back. Lightning struck that, came in the house, got the receiver, and then transferred over to me. Dad, grandmother, everybody came running into the room. I'm sitting straight up in the bed, hair's all out to here, and immediately I lost my hearing, and I couldn't hear anything for several months. My mom took me to the doctor. She's like, yeah, everything will be okay. And then shortly after that, it's just like everything started falling into place. This was back in the 70s, not to tell how old I am or anything, but
Right there.
Yeah, right here.
Just before you start, once again, I just want to piss off the fact that we're both 70s kids, and you look that good, and I look like this. So I'm just saying, that's just a little wrong.
Fine.
It's just a little wrong. I just want to say it's an evil trick that people play.
Gen X. But so long story short, we had rotary phones. We did not have caller ID. The phone was, on the wall. And whenever the phone would ring, I immediately knew who it was. where I didn't have that capability before. And so my mom just started really getting freaked out. And she took me to a psychologist of all people. And they were like, you know what? It has to have something to do with the lightning. That's the only thing they could figure out. They did a whole battery of tests on me. And, that's literally it. That they couldn't figure out anything else. But speaking of that, though, I started sensing a lot of things. We didn't have a lot of money, so I was just like really cautious about my toys. I did not break them. I didn't, destroy them in any way or shape or form. But I would come home sometimes and my toys had been moved or, it had been broken. And I'm like, I'm the only child. What's going on here?
Right.
So, I would like sneak around the corner, look through the little crack of the door and try to see something. And then one day I did see this little kid playing in my room. And I yelled down the stairs at my mom. I'm like, hey, who's in my bedroom? So she came upstairs and she's like, there's nobody in here but you. I'm like, he's right there. He's right there. And there was nobody there. So that's how it all started. Like, leave my stuff alone,
Yeah. So how was that? I mean, was it something that you accepted at that age and you just kind of went with it from then on?
Yeah, to me it was normal, and it's just like I've been on other podcasts and things and, I've talked about different scenarios and whatnot. But to me, it's just like, okay, when a little kid says that they've got an imaginary friend,
right,
who's to say that they don't?
Right.
Because, kids get ridiculed. Oh, okay, that's not real. You're making it up, this, that, and the other. But are they really seeing this person or this thing or whatever, even an animal? Are they really seeing it? Is it really there? And I truly believe that it is there.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I just didn't know, because I know that so many people that have it at such an early age, and then all of a sudden they're like, it's kind of making my life a living hell as a kid. Playing with other kids and stuff like that, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn it off. But then later on in life, they're like, you know what? I still have this thing, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on again. So I didn't know if that was something you had to deal with. I mean, how was it growing up as a child, kind of going through with other friends and everything else with disabilities?
I kept it quiet.
Okay.
I didn't say anything for fear of the stigma of someone going, she's not right. So I really kept it on the down low, and it was sad because I wanted to share all the things that I saw, and I wanted to share all the experiences that I had, but I knew that no one would understand.
Yeah.
Then when I got older, my degree is actually in criminal justice and my minor is in psychology. So I started psychoanalyzing myself. I'm like, okay, let's just reassess this.
Right.
Is this something that you just made up when you were a child? And no, it's actually not. And I've been doing paranormal investigations for over 20 years, and I've seen and I've heard a lot of things. Some of the things I've actually caught on video, some things we have pictures of, audio. And it's quite impressive, the things that happen. And even in my store, there's been some really crazy things happen lately.
Oh, really? And it's just been lately?
Honestly, it's been ever since I've gotten back from the last investigation. I was on season 12, episode 1 of the Ghost Finders.
Oh, nice.
And we went up to Randolph County Asylum and Infirmary up in Winchester, Indiana. And I got to see Brittney. I worked with her.
Yeah, so those people who don't know, that's Brittney Isley that I had on the show before. So, yep.
Yeah, so I got to work with Brittney and Rob Thompson and Patti Negri, the famous Hollywood psychic, really good friend of mine. I love her to death.
I actually have her on next after you. She comes on in 2 weeks. So, yeah, she'll be on here.
Yay!
She'll come back and say
hi. Love. But, so, yeah, we were there, and we were supposed to be there in the previous November, and everybody got COVID. So, everything shut down.
Yeah.
So ended up being the next spring. I believe it was like February or March that we went. But I was already on the way up there, and I said, I'm not turning around.
Right.
So they had their anniversary show or something on YouTube, and I did a quick walkthrough. But when I was doing that walkthrough, something in the basement made like a really loud growl, and it rushed us. And luckily, I caught it all, and I've got the audio tape on it. Now, when we went back in March, something the whole time we were there was calling me to the attic. And then everybody had, certain rooms we'd already planned to go in. But at the very end, of course, Cameron had already put all their cameras up. That's when the real stuff's going to happen.
Right.
We went up to the attic, and we were all just standing in a circle, just saying, whatever's here, we mean no harm, things like that. And then I felt a hand on my shoulder. And then right beside of me, I believe it was Brittney. She felt a hand on her other shoulder.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, whatever it was just standing between us. Immediately, I started getting like sick to my stomach. And then I went down to one knee because I'm thinking, and I usually wear glasses, but the only thing I was thinking of is, oh my God, I've got to drive all the way back home to North Carolina, and I'm not going to be able to see. That's going to be an accident.
Yeah.
So I go down to one knee, and then I just had this like gut-wrenching feeling in my stomach. So I put my hands on my stomach, and I bent over. And when I did, it kind of arched my back, because I was like trying to ball myself up. Well, I felt something like, it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy. I felt something reach its hand in my spine and try to like pull my spinal cord out. Well, after that, everybody said, we want you out of the attic right now.
Yeah.
Because the only two people that got injured the whole time we were there were me and Patti, and we were the only two psychics that were filming. So I left the attic. It wasn't but minutes later, Jeff came down. He was one of the photographers, and he said, look at this. And he took a picture, and there was this entity that was probably like 7.5 foot tall.
Oh, yeah.
Behind me. And like right now I'm getting cold chills. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. Well, didn't think about it until I got home, but I've had spinal fusion, and I have a spinal cord stimulator implant in my back. I went to charge it. It is completely dead, and I have to get it replaced now. So in essence, what I was a power source.
Right.
It just reached right in there and just sucked all that power out of that lithium battery that's implanted in my hip.
Yeah.
Now, there was another investigative team coming in after us, and let me tell you, I feel sorry for them. I don't know what they found.
Yeah, that's funny because, one of the things, and we kind of talked beforehand, things that kind of happen to me when stuff happens is that when you start talking about it, I start seeing what's happening. It's almost like it's playing back on a movie for me. In my head, so I can see it literally reaching, and I can tell that when it reached down to you two. It didn't reach even to you. It reached down to you two because of how large and how tall it was. That's what I was seeing in my head when you started saying it touched our shoulders, and I was like, "Wow, that thing's tall." I was able to.
But whatever it was, that's when the shenanigans in my store started.
Yeah.
Me and my manager of the store, her name is Brooke. She was in the back of the store. We were doing inventory one day. I was down on my computer, just, typing away. She was unwrapping crystals. And then all of a sudden, out of her peripherals, she sees this, it was on a wall. It's just like this, picture, for lack of a better word, but she saw it starting to lift like this off the wall. Now, let me tell you, I'd used E6000, a really ornate frame around this picture, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you've ever tried to get E6000 off of something, but it's not easy.
Right.
So this picture frame starts lifting the bottom end off the wall. And at that point, when she looks up, you know, to let whatever it is know that, hey, I see you, this frame gets jerked off of this picture and then falls on the floor and breaks into 4 pieces. The picture stayed on the wall. I can't explain it.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I don't try to step into people's conversations and like see what I'm seeing, but with you, I'm actually going to, because I'm going to let you know what I'm seeing.
Please do.
It's not the entity that you encountered in the infirmary, but it's almost like it sent a minion of itself with you, to kind of like antagonize and watch you. So it's not the full on large creature, but it's almost like a parasitic thing that's just going to start driving you absolutely nuts inside of your store.
Well, it's doing a good job. It's setting my my security cameras off. It's in the middle of the night. I've had to turn my alarms off on my phone because it shows vehicle detected, which means something's flying by.
Right.
It shows face detected. It shows human detected. The other night, it knocked over a Tupperware bowl of crystals all onto the floor. The next morning I came in, one of the little lights in my tarot card reading room was just flashing all different colors. And I know for a fact I turned it off when I left. So whatever's going on, it needs to knock it off.
It seems like it's just a little minion that when it reached out and touched you. Britt probably had some issues too, but it didn't seem like it got Britt as much as it did you. But Britt's, I'm sure, having issues. I would like to talk to her about this. I haven't talked to her for a bit, so, or I'll talk to her mom, to Michelle.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's just to me, it almost seems like it's acting like a 2-year-old in your area.
100%.
Yeah, and that's what it's doing. It's just a smaller. I don't want to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, and that's just what it's doing. Is like it kind of went, okay, you go with her and just drive her nuts. So I'm laughing because one of the people that my audience, my family knows what I used to do, and Jason posted a comment saying Thomas sneaking in there like special ops. So
I love that.
Yeah. Normally I won't try to step on your conversations like that, but this is rushing me so much that it's flooding me with what I'm seeing inside your store that I'm like, okay, I got to show with Angie what I'm seeing.
I did not have gray hair before I went to Randolph.
Well, I used to have hair, but then I went somewhere too when it all fell out. But yeah, so that's really interesting that it's messing with your store right now, but it's not doing anything in your home. It's keeping itself to the store.
100% in the store.
Yeah.
And customers are in there, and I don't know if Tassie is watching the show or not. She's one of my customers, but occasionally you can be in the store and it literally sounds like a little crystal tumble or whatever, just a little crystal falls and hits the floor.
Huh.
And people are looking around. I'm like, it's just my ghost.
Yeah. And what was the name? What was the name? Tassie?
Tassie, yeah.
Oh, is it also Rebecca White? Because she says yes. Because she says yes, I am. So she's but so I'm going to ask her a question as well. So Tassie, I'm going to call you Tassie because that's what you're going by apparently. Hi, I'm Tom. But do you also see the movement out of the corner of your eyes and you turn to look and it's not there when you're in the store? Because I know you guys do. And I know that's what that is. So yes, Ann Iva, is that Anniva? Hi. But yeah, she's also here, and then she hears, and Tassie says she hears, "I'm here in the store."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yep, and she said yes, 100%. So yeah, so I'm seeing what you guys are seeing in the store, and it's interesting. Don't like it when I see the stuff you guys are seeing in the store when I'm in my house, but sometimes it pushes through and lets me know what's going on. But yeah, it's gonna stay as an instigator until you decide you don't want it anymore and you just forcefully push it out.
Well, we've tried. That's the thing. I don't know if you've ever had Megan Deputy on here or not.
Nope.
She's the Ghost Finders as well. She came to the store. She did like a cleansing, a clearing of me, the store, and everything. And it is still very, very active.
Yeah. And I can see that. It's so when the problem is your store has so many nooks and crannies that Nikki and I, my wife, just had to deal with this at someone else's house. It will push the main entity out of the store, but it will leave a small portion of it that will basically be like for a better lack of a better term. I can't believe I'm going to use this term because I'm not this big of a nerd. My wife is going to laugh at me, but it's almost like it's a Horcrux that it can go to and come back into the store from. Like it almost has an opening to go through and come back in because of this. So you can keep cleansing it all you want, but it's going to have to be a capture, not a cleanse.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I have a Harry Potter section in my store.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know, my wife is saying Harry Potter. Yes. So, yeah, I get this. And now she's also yelling at me, hey, yeah, make sure you keep the shit around. Because I'm opening up and I'm seeing what you're seeing and what you guys are dealing with. Jason asked, where is the store located at? He said, sorry, I showed up late.
Oh, it's in Hickory, North Carolina, inside of Valley Hills Mall.
Well, all right. And if you all want to go check it out virtually, well, now you know where it is physically, but if you want to check it out virtually, since I'm right here anyways, ta-da, look at that. CrescentMoonStove.com. There you go. See, I even let that run for a while, so people can go check it out, or at least write it down. But yeah, so it's interesting. Like I told you, we were going to have squirrel moments. And this is one of them right here.
Absolutely. It's Crescent Moon Soaps because I originally started out as a soap store.
Yeah.
And then my love for crystals, I've just started incorporating those into the store more and more. And it's just like, you know, we're in the Bible Belt here.
Yeah.
We're in the South. So people started kind of like shying away from it a little bit. So I gave the soap store to my daughter, and she has her own little spot now, which is 2 doors down from me.
Right.
But it's amazing though. I enjoy what I do. Literally right before I opened the store, I was a custom protection officer and I did riot control.
Nice.
This is much safer. Well, maybe it's not.
Hold on a second. That's much safer against what you can see. So
right.
And Jason's saying the same thing. He said if there is a small opening anywhere in the store, it will sneak back in. Absolutely. And that's what I'm seeing too. I'm seeing basically 99% of it will break off, and you'll have one little piece that hangs around back there and goes, now I have my way back in. Yeah. So there's no way to seal it. You're going to have to do a capture. And that's literally going to have to be identifying a way to pull it into a religiously sealed box.
So not a Pokemon ball.
No, not this time. Not this. It would be nice if it was this time, but not this time.
I gotta catch them all, man.
Right, you do, and you have a good one to catch. I want to go. I have to. Sorry, I'm going to kind of sidetrack a little bit. I want to know this, Anne. If you're on here still, can you please give me a phonetic of your name? Is it Ann Eva or Ann Iva? I'm seeing it as Ann Iva, but I just want to make sure I'm saying it right when I talk to you. Yeah, and she's saying, Rebecca's saying, I like the Pokeball. So yes, you can use a Pokeball. Just make sure it has a cross on it that's been blessed. You're good. Otherwise, it's not going to get worse. It's just going to always be an annoyance, and it's going to be you'll always have like the little 2-year-old running around in your store, and it's not going. It is not going to get any. Yes, Jason says empty all. Oh, you're going to have fun with this one. Make sure you empty all the crystals out of the store beforehand.
You have no idea how big the store is.
Oh.
It's about 2,000 square feet.
Oh, so a small one.
Oh, yeah. Minuscule.
Yeah, exactly. So, hi, Melody. How are you? Melody's one of my Hawaiian watchers. That's why you hear me do all the time frames in the beginning of the show, because that's where we have people who watch from. So I just kind of cover them all. So I just do it all in one fell swoop in the beginning. But yeah, it's interesting that followed you home from the infirmary from Randolph Um, so it literally hitched a ride with you all the way back to your place.
It did, and I hope it enjoyed Skyline Chili because that's where I stopped on the way home.
Stu says burning sage doesn't help. No, it did not.
We've burned sage. We have burned Palo Santo. We have used sweetgrass. Literally everything that I can think of. And
man. All right, I'll get back to you offline about what I have planned.
All right.
But it's going to be a very different type of. It's probably an approach you've never heard of before, and it's something I've never heard of before until someone in my head just started talking. Thanks, guys. But yeah, Rosie.
I love that. I love it when that happens.
And Rosie's saying it rode shotgun. So yes, it rode shotgun with you on the way home. So but yeah, more squirrel moments. You people are not helping me at all. Welcome back. Okay, so you did the investigation. You came back. You brought something back just to hang out in your store to just kind of keep watch and keep you awake when the alarms keep going off. Because you said you see like a human detected or a face detection. Have you actually captured any of that actual evidence in a camera, or is it just a detector that sets it off?
I haven't caught anything, and it would take me literally hundreds of hours to go through every single time because it probably gets alerted maybe 20 times a night.
So
and it's 8 different cameras in there. So
do me a favor. This is just it's gonna try to prove me wrong, but you're gonna find it. Do me a favor, and when you get an alert, mark the timestamp on it. Only when it's either a human or a face detected, and then look at your camera at that time day stamp and see what's on that camera on that specific time frame. Don't worry about searching through all the different cameras and all the different times and everything else. Just search that very specific one it was set off on, and you'll have something on one of your cameras.
Okay.
That time frame. Rosie is saying, what about burning cedar or sweetgrass?
Yes.
Sweetgrass. Have you done the cedar?
I've done cedar.
Okay, I say because it's going to ignore cedar.
I've done rosemary.
I can't.
Well, that didn't sound good, did it? I've burned rosemary.
There you go.
Glad you got that parental advisory up there. There it is.
There it is. So have you? And when was that? When did you all do that investigation?
It was either at the end of February or beginning of March.
So it was just early this year.
Last year.
2023. So this is hanging with you for a while, but it didn't present itself right away.
It started presenting itself probably about a month and a half after I got back.
Yeah, it waited for you to settle back in first before it went, surprise! So
yeah. Now my middle child, she said, Mom, is everything okay? Because you're like super nice right now. And I'm like, what? She's like, you're just not acting like yourself. You're really nice. And what is that supposed to mean? How does somebody take that? Yeah,
right. Especially your kids. Hey, look.
Yeah. They noticed. Now, for a while, I was smelling sulfur. I'm no longer smelling sulfur. Yep,
and that's because it is because when you smelled it when it was early, the sulfur was early. And that was still had the tinge of what it came off of attached to it. But now it's kind of its own entity, but it's just being a little pain in the butt. So it's not that sulfuric build. It's just the smaller portion of it, but it's kind of on its own link right now, if that makes sense. So I'm looking at a couple.
That's crazy. There's always like this metallic smell, and you know how like
that's perfect.
Blood smells.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Rosie, it does. She asked, does it stay at the store? Does it follow you to the house? It just stays in the store.
Yeah, it does not follow me home.
And Melody Chang says, sounds like it just likes the smells of burning herbs and woods.
I mean, I could do some napalm, but I'm sure the mom wouldn't like that.
I think this is going to involve more of a. This is going to be a different type of ritual you're going to need to do to get rid of this thing. Like I said, I'll talk to you about it offline.
Take a trip to North Carolina. Bring the wife.
Jason says Naktumba is still my fave. So, but yeah. So that's an interesting one, and it's driving me nuts that it's just like showing itself to me, going like it's just being and my wife says yes, let's go. So
yeah, come on. Come on.
I'm like, wait, where am I? I'm going to be in Florida in about 3 weeks. So.
Well, you're going to be passing through North Carolina. Maybe if you're driving. I don't know if you're driving or not.
What's funny is my layover on the way back is actually in Charlotte.
That's only like an hour and 10 minutes from me.
I know, but my layover is only like an hour and 38 minutes. So.
You better hurry.
Right? So now you're dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been on any other investigations? I'm sure the answer is yes. Since this has taken place.
I've only been on one since this has taken place, only because this one right here absolutely shook me to the core.
Yeah.
And this was just like a local home where a customer of mine was having some paranormal activity going on, and it really honestly turned out to be nothing at all. But this one shook me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had this feeling before.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, because that thing doesn't travel with you either. It literally stays in your store.
Right. Now, let me go back to November when I went there the first time. I left this part out. When I was down in the basement area of the asylum, whatever it was, I told you it rushed me.
Yeah.
It rushed me, all right. But I've also got pictures of 3 like lines down my back.
Oh.
When I went to the hotel, which is literally like a mile and a half down the road from the asylum, I just got in the shower. I just wanted to wash everything off of me. And I very rarely have nosebleeds, but I was standing in the shower, and not to get too graphic here, but I had my back towards the shower head, my front towards the back of the tub, and blood just sprayed straight out of my nose. And that's never happened before either.
Yeah. The 3 marks on your back, were they bloody or were they just skin scratches?
Neither. That's the thing. It felt hot. It felt like it was burning. It looked like it had been scratched down, and it was whelped up. But the next morning, there was no trace of it.
Okay, they're gone. Yeah.
But I have pictures of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was from the basement.
From the basement, yeah.
So those are 2 different things.
There's 3 floors in between the basement and the attic.
Yeah, but
completely different.
And what's funny is that they're not allowed to go to each other's floors.
No.
The basement dweller controls his floor. The attic controls his floor. They do not intermingle. They are not the same thing. They very much do not like each other, as a matter of fact. They're very territorial, and they both want each other to go away.
I got cold chills again. Oh, God.
Sorry. Stuart, Dennis who, Stuart? Stuart's asking me, Thomas, doesn't Dennis live near there? Asking me about near where you're at. And he's asking, and I'm trying to figure out which Dennis, because I know a couple of Dennises. Yes, and Rosie's saying they were probably wanting the same thing then. Correct, but one was stronger than the other. So that's why the attic dweller won. It's interesting. It's
I never want to go back.
It's interesting for me because I told you before that I'm too dumb to know any better, so I have no fear. So I'm watching it happen through your eyes, and I'm actually feeling it, what's going on. And to me, it's more curiosity, how I would entertain it. But for you, it's because it happened directly to you. Then that's that. I can understand why you get the cold, why you get the shivers, why you see that.
If you want to go, it's Randolph County.
Oh yeah, I know where it is, and I even know what it looks like inside. Yeah. Oh, okay. So Stuart's telling me. So there's a friend of ours named William Nighthawk, and he used to do a show with the gentleman named Dennis, and I think he is down in that area. And they both deal with entities of all sorts, very strongly. So I may put you in touch with Dennis, but I want you. Yeah, Rosie said Dennis Carroll. That's his name. But we'll see what happens when I talk to you first and about what I want you to do. All right, so we're all over the place now. Right, and Melody says, just imagining ghosts drawing invisible lines, telling the other ghost, "This is my space." Yeah, they're laying down tape and saying, "This is my half of the room. That's your half of the room. Stay there." So yeah,
you over here and you over here.
Right. Rosie's asking, "Do you think salt will help?"
No.
Well, there you go. It's more and more closing what I think I'm gonna have. What you're gonna have to do.
Yeah, definitely not.
Lord. Okay.
So changing the subject, do you want to see what I found the other day?
Absolutely.
Oh, I say the other day. It could be last week. It could be 3 years ago. And I'm going to say the other day. It was actually May 30th, 2023.
Well, there you go.
So I went to this antique store called Dead People Things in Lenoir, North Carolina. And I found a bone. And it looks like either a hip or like a femur. And it had been cut off where it's just like perfectly straight.
Like a surgeon had done it or something.
Do what?
I said like a surgeon had done it or something along those lines.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So, me and my criminal justice degree and everything, I went, that was found on the Jersey Shore. Can't be right. So I'm going to cover my personal phone number here. But I did turn it into the FBI.
Yep.
It did come back as a piece of non-human bone. We don't know what it is, but I thought it was interesting. Anyways, that's all I have to share on that.
It's a non-human. So the interesting part, it's a non-human bone, but it looks like it's a. Yeah, right. Stuart, he says it doesn't look human, too big, which is what I was thinking. It has the human shape, but it doesn't have that it should be a human bone. So, so what was dissected that has that size of a human femur or whatever else? So, or the size of a femur like that or something else. So, speculation.
Maybe it's Bigfoot.
Maybe it's a Bigfoot.
In Jersey, on the Jersey Shore.
Right. Jason, I'm laughing because I'm watching it. Jason says, when the show is all over the place, it's because people are interested because of all of our squirrel moments we're having right now. Yes, I know. They're all over the place.
I'm like the queen of squirrels. I'm like, oh, look, a shiny squirrel.
Stuart says cow. Of course, Stuart would say cow because he's in Texas. Of course he would. Rosie's saying Nephilims. And then, again, Melody says might be cow. So, could be.
Still an interesting story, though. And I was like, I'm going to buy that.
So Nicole, Nikki's asking you a question and this is a conversation that she and I have too. She says, so you're okay with going into antique stores? You're able to go into antique stores?
Yes, I've actually purchased a lot of haunted items from antique stores and cleansed them. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a little apprehensive to say go into antique stores because of the fact there could be attachments to so many different things.
There's a lot of residual energy.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. And Primal says bones remember, so just ask. Like they remember what they were a part of or something else, so you can ask. Very true. Thanks for that, Primal.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
I didn't either. I just want to sit here and speculate what it could be rather than actually ask what it is. Because I'm not that smart. But when you go out on investigation, is that your? I don't want to identify it just as a role, but is that what people expect you to do? Is be the medium? Is that are you like multifaceted, wear different hats to wear all kinds of different things, or is that really what they expect you to do? Is do the mediumship and talk to what's in the area or identify what's in the area?
Most of the time, and it's mostly because I am like a flippin' magnet. So when I walk into a place, it's just like, straight to me, and whatever is there, whether I invite it in or not, it's going to open up. And it's just like the light turning on somewhere, and then all of them rush to it. That's what happens every single time I go to investigate a place. And so they know that if something is there, they've investigated it before, they haven't had any kind of contact with it, that if I go in and investigate it, I'm going to draw it out every single time. And like I said, once that floodgate opens, it's, that one, this one, the next one. If there's multiple, they're all going to come out.
Yeah. Do you have to do what I do and tell them to stand in the line? You'll get to them as you get to them. Stop trying to bum rush me. So
they bum rush me.
Yeah, they try to bum rush me. I go, stop, form a line. I'll talk to you when I get to you. If I don't want to talk to all of you, y'all gonna have to wait. It's not like you got anything better to do. So
it's like in my head right now, I'm totally seeing one of those old things that they used to have at Kmart. It was like a little stand where you pulled the number.
And see, in my head, it's what happened at the end of Beetlejuice. When he pulls the number, you're like, oh, man.
I love that, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's I order them. Look, I can shut it all down at once, so none of you will talk to me, or y'all can be patient, and I'll talk to you when I get my turn, when you get your turn. And that's kind of how I see it in my head. So you mentioned your daughter. Does your daughter have any kind of abilities that she's presented yet?
Well, I have 2 daughters and a son. The son has
0.
Oh. The oldest daughter, I think she does connect. I don't really hear that much about it. The middle one likes to say, if I don't recognize it, it can't get me. But she does not really see things. She feels presences when something is there. Yeah. So I think it does run down the line. I don't know if all of it can be reduced back to the fact that I, got struck by lightning when I was little. My great grandmother used to be one of those ones, and I know it sounds crazy, but to talk the fire out of you if you got burned when you were little. Yeah. I've done genealogy. My 10th great grandmother was Alice Irod Lake. She was the second person to be hung as a witch in the United States, in Salem, before the witch trial.
So that answers my next question. Do you have a lineage of this going on? So that was because I was asking for the forward family, and I was going to ask for the back family, but you just answered that, so that's good. Because I knew your youngest daughter has abilities. She's very curious about it, but she doesn't want to be curious about it.
She's like, nope, it's not gonna get me. It's not gonna get me.
Stuart suggests because your son doesn't have abilities, he has abilities. He just hasn't realized he has abilities yet, and he doesn't care that he has abilities. He's completely shut off. So Stuart suggests just leaving your son out in a thunderstorm. So that'll do it.
I mean, there's times where I would like to. And I know I don't want you guys to think that it's some little kid. No, he's 30 years old. He just got out, he's been out of the Army for a while. He's basically my roommate now.
Oh, yeah.
Like video games when he's not working. Yeah. I'd like to put him out in this thunderstorm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense then. I'm going back to 2 comments because we're going back to our antique stores, and I'm just kind of commenting what Jason says. So Jason says, we love antique stores. We shop at everyone we can on investigation trips. And then he says, I know even just driving by a building, knowing I need to stop and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I'm perfectly fine in antique stores, but I never feel the need to be in one. But I know when I walk in one, I always feel in the back of my neck that it starts to crawl, and I'm like, okay, so who's in here?
Right.
But I have not. I have not actually been in an antique store. I've always had that feeling in the back of my head when I walked in antique stores, but I've never walked into an antique store since I knew that I had abilities. So it'd be interesting to go in now and be like, oh, all right, let's play this game.
Be like,
Yeah. So that would be interesting.
It is interesting because honestly, I can, not my Maleficent cup or anything, but I can pick up an item.
Yep.
I can immediately feel either happiness or sorrow, any kind of emotion of the person that the cup belonged to. Same thing with a piece of clothing, just anything like that. I can feel it. I can just like suck that out of me or suck that out of the object. And I know at that point, typically how they passed away. It takes a couple of days to shake that off.
Yeah.
I have not really mastered that yet. Things keep coming to me more and more.
Got to get that armor we talked about. So
yeah, it develops when it develops.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the old film. You put it in a dark room, and somebody opens up the door. Dad, you just ruined everything.
Ruined it. Yeah. Yep. Rosie says, "What about estate sales?"
Yes. I love estate sales. With those, however, I have noticed that there is a lot of feeling of resentment in some of the items.
Yeah.
And a lot of anger. So I'm really cautious with estate sales. Dolls, I love dolls.
Yeah. I don't know why, but there's so many people that are just drawn to different types of dolls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a friend of ours, Connie Koenig, and I don't know what it is with her and dolls, but I was like, she picks out the worst ones that they love her, but they hate everybody else type of dolls. People go into her house and like, put that damn doll away. And she's like, but it's my favorite doll. No, go put that thing somewhere else.
But it's creepy. No, because I actually have an antique doll that was haunted at one point in my store. She's sitting on a very top shelf. I've got a big witch hat on her. And whenever I first got it, I was like, oh, I'm feeling a lot of sadness. And I felt like a child had passed away, and it was her doll. But since then, there's like when I hold it, there's nothing there. So whatever it was, I released, and that's not what pulled the frame off my picture.
No, that's not what pulled the frame off your picture. There's not a little girl having a tantrum. No.
No.
Yeah. And Jason says he's very touchy in stores. So,
yes.
Like, you mean you're very sensitive in stores, or like you just need to touch everything in stores? Come on, Jason, explain yourself better. So, you know how I work. When did you start doing investigations?
About 23 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of them were just small scale. My friend says, oh, I heard something the other night. Will you come check it out? Or, go check out abandoned homes or cemeteries, just little things. And it's only been the past few years that I've actually done bigger things.
Kind of ramped it up a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, if anybody's out there looking, I'm on it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Right. Yeah, we're. It's funny because we live pretty close to the Villisca Axe Murder House, but we haven't been there yet. But I'm very drawn to going to there. I believe that when I go there, I don't think shit's going to go sideways, but I think something's going to happen. I think I don't want to sound egotistical, but I feel like if I show up, something's going to be like, yeah, we need to show something to this guy, type of thing.
You're going to show up They're going to show out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was warned. It was definitely a warning ahead of time that I had someone in the past tell me. She said, look, she goes, you are very strong that you don't know yet. And she goes, but different spirits, elements, and demons do. So the lesser ones will never challenge you because they know that they can't beat you. But the stronger ones will want to test their mettle against you. So be prepared for that, because anything that comes up against you is going to be strong. And I'm like, okay. And again, too dumb to know any better. So I'm just like, cool, bring it on. So
well, speaking of acts, which I am so glad you brought that up, because
segue.
I didn't even think to tell you. I was doing my ancestry one night, and this was with my ex. You know, he's that for a reason. Anywho, so I was on the computer, and I was like, you know, checking birth and death certificates, because I'm not one of the ones to click the little green leaf and say, oh, okay, they're related. No, right. I really want to know.
Right.
At the same time, he was on the couch, and he was purchasing me a Viking axe from Denmark. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And actually, no, he had already purchased it. He was looking for the shipping because it was supposed to be here like within days. It was almost before Valentine's Day. So it was supposed to be here. And at that given moment, when he is looking at whether it's FedEx or UPS, I don't know, whatever it was coming from overseas, I'm sitting here typing, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh. And he says, what? I said, you're never going to guess who I'm related to. This is epic. And he's like, who? I said, Lizzie Borden. Immediately, his face goes stark white, and he's like, I just called that woman an axe. He's related to Lizzie Borden. What am I doing with my life? Yeah. True story. Axe is hanging on the bedroom wall.
Awesome. You know, he's like, I'm gonna go sleep in the other room. Yeah, we're good. So
he's not a that's all I'm gonna say. Just kidding. No,
yes.
no.
Stuart says, great Valentine's Day present, by the way.
It was.
Right?
Yeah.
And what's really going to blow your mind is wait till we're done when we talk offline. That's going to come into play. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you said that. Yeah. So I'm going back to when I asked Jason, when he said he's touchy about stuff. He says kind of both. I have to feel the energy of stuff, and then if it is a toy that says press me or ring bell for service, I have to press it. So yes, I did ask to explain. So thank you for that.
That's just your inner child coming out, and I appreciate that 1,000%.
And it's funny because I do that with people.
You press the buttons?
Apparently. But this is how, so I never explained to you how I found you or why I was drawn to bring you on my show.
Because at first I thought you were sketch.
Right. I know.
I'm like,
I understand.
How did he find me?
Right. Yeah. So for people who don't know, because I haven't explained it yet, normally I explain to people how we met. And so I came across Angie, and she came up as a suggested friend. And it turns out that we have a couple people that we both know. But you know how I work. My audience knows how I work on my show. For me, I look at your image. Mm-hmm. And I get the energy of you off of your image on if it's a good or a bad image, or if it's bad energy. And if it's something that I don't like, I will not even ask you to come on my show. But you had a very good energy.
Oh,
so
thank
that's
you.
why I reached out and went, hey, would you be on my show? And the next message I got back is, how did you find me? And I was like, how do I explain it? So I was like, well, what? You and I both have the same amount of same friends.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 and everything else. And you're like, oh, okay, you're not a stalker. We're okay. So,
that must be the law enforcement coming out. I don't know.
Right. It really is, because you'll notice that I word my invitations and stuff like that very specific. And I don't have a canned invitation for everybody. I really specify them to each individual person, because I have to base it off of the personality I'm feeling coming through. And that's how that worked. And see, that's exactly what, so Jason says, that's how we met Tom. Yeah. So it comes out that way. And this is how I bring people onto my show, is because I feel their energy. And I do this when I walk around. And this goes back to what you guys are talking about when you walk around, antique stores. Well, I walk around holistic fests and mystic fairs and stuff like that, and I pick up on the person's energy. And if I like their energy, then I will approach them and I will ask them about possibly coming on my show. So I'm kind of the same way as you guys are in antique shows, in antique stores, but I'm that way in holistic and mystic fairs and how I decide who I'm going to try to talk to or not.
So you like people.
Yes. 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 Because you don't, just so you're fair warned, just so, and my family knows this, that's why they're still here, because they can't escape. Once you come on the show, you become part of the family. So
awesome.
So now you're stuck with everybody that's over there next to you. Well, you can't see them because you're on your phone, but next to you on that side on my screen, there's a whole bunch of comments going on. So, so that's what's going on. I'm trying to see because messages are coming in now. So Rosie's asking me how many people have I not got in touch with because of the bad energy. You know, a lot of times when there's a bad energy, I don't even approach them. I just walk by them. I don't even engage in them. Some people I will engage because they're blocking themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, why are you blocking yourself? Are it because you're a good energy or a bad energy? So I will engage you in conversation. And once you open your mouth to start to talk, I have just broke through your block. You don't have a choice. For some reason, you cannot continue to block that energy from me once you start to talk. And then I get a reading. And so there's a lot of people I'll talk to, but I'll just walk by them. But then the very next table, and I see it happen all the time, the very next table is a very good energy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll introduce myself. And I said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Would you like to come on the show? And then the person I just passed is like, well, how come he didn't ask me? I never tell them why, but they're always asking what, you know, I always get that look, like that side eye, like, you were just over here. Why aren't you talking to me about this? So it's pretty interesting to see people, how they react to stuff like that. And Stuart says, trouble is, he is a stalker on Facebook. That is true.
I believe that.
It very much is, because before you come on my show, once I feel an energy and it's a positive energy, and I reach out to you to say, hey, let's discuss about you coming on my show, I go out and I Facebook stalk the hell out of you.
That's good, because I Facebook stalk the hell out of you too.
Most people should. And I tell people, that's why I send them a link to my show. Hey, I know you don't know me from Adam. Here's my show. Please go out and watch a couple of episodes and feel and see if this is something that would interest you to come on the show.
I'm sending love and well wishes to your wife.
Oh, well, thank you very much. She appreciates that. Everyone else on here already knows, so I will enlighten you as well that she has cancer and she's been fighting it. Has nine treatments, 9 sessions left of chemo. So we're on the downhill slide of it right now. So all's good there. So I get these wonderful little pop-ups all the time. And luckily you guys don't see them because they're only over on Twitch. So you guys won't see them. But Jason says he likes you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I like you.
And Rosie is asking, how does one block energy? So you don't want them to see your energy? Is that what you're asking, Rosie? Because if that's what it is, I will send you how to block energy offline. Because I'm going to go ahead and continue with
gas and bad breath.
True. There is. Testing seems to work a lot. Picking your nose, trying to pick their nose works really good. It really, I'm just saying, there's a couple of ideas right there for you, Rosie. To block your own energy, you really just have to focus inward and basically, what I do is I basically become my introverted self and I become my hermit and I close everything down and I don't let anyone see anything. That's what I do. Cause everyone knows on here that outside of the fact that I am on my show, I am very loud. What I call myself is a chameleon because I can fit into a lot of situations. This is how I'm able to do the show. But otherwise, I'm very much an introvert. So I block my energy very well if I want to. But it's just turning yourself inward is all it really is. Not allowing people to, you know how you always tell yourself, Rosie, that you got to put that bubble around you to help keep the bad things out, where you can actually create it. And a lot of people, I tell them, sounds terrible, but you have to put a dark bubble around yourself to help block your own energy. And that's kind of what it does.
Well, we just had May the 4th, so put force field around you.
Use the force around you, yes. And Nikki says, "Oh, thank you, Angie, for doing for the well wishes."
Oh, you're welcome.
And Jason's saying same thing. So much positive vibes to you, Nikki. So, but yeah, I don't know how many squirrel moments.
Even get a chance to talk about the UFO.
Well, go talk about them. My show does not end in an hour. My show ends when we're done talking.
Well, hot damn, let's do it.
So let's talk about it. Hey, right. Hey, everybody, watch. Angie's going to go ahead and talk about the UFOs now. Ready? Go.
Yay. So I encountered my first one when I was about 6 to 7 years old. Me and my best friend were outside. You know, once again, I'm a Gen Xer. We did not come home until the street light came on.
Or until Mom yelled, dinner! Yes.
We weren't allowed to come home. And we saw something like flying over the sky. And this was before ET came out. I didn't even know what ET was.
Right.
So we were just looking at it and we were like, what was that? And then we heard like a whirling sound. Well, after that, that was the end of it. So I go a couple years, maybe 10, 12, 15 years down the road. And then I see another one when I lived in Florida. And then I was like, okay, this is vaguely, familiar. I remember something like this. And for the longest time, I had forgotten about seeing the first one.
Right.
But it all came back to me. Well, right before 9/11, I was living in Indianapolis. I'm a gypsy. I move around a lot. So I was living in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I was taking the dog out back. And I saw something in the sky. And I was like, what is that? And at this point in my life, I owned a cell phone. Thank God. I popped that sucker up, snapped a picture, and then after that, it was literally gone. I looked at the picture, put it on the computer, I zoomed in. It was kind of like a cigar shape. Couldn't really tell. It wasn't like 100% clear because I was like, hey, I've got to get this fast. Right. I didn't sit there and focus on it. Oh, let me get this angle, that angle. It was a quick snap. But I was like, well, I live near Indianapolis, Indiana Raceway. Could it be a blimp? So I called the raceway. There was none that day. I called the airport. They're not going to tell me jack.
Right.
Fine, whatever.
Right.
Do boo-boo. But then I reached out to MUFON. And MUFON said, send what you've got. Tell me what you felt. Tell me everything.
Yeah.
So I typed it all up. I was like, I felt like a pulling of my hair, like static.
Right.
And then I heard that whirling noise again, but it was just like I'm not going to look stupid to try to make that sound. I'm not. And then I sent the picture and they said, okay, let us see if we can debunk it. I'm like, all right, let me know.
Can I say that it was more of a hum than a whirling?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like a hum that sounded like it was going around a tornado.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Well, so, most of us who live in the Midwest, yes, that makes perfect sense. So,
okay. So they sent it off, and then I got all the information back. It was a retired U.S., or not U.S., but United States Air Force guy. I don't remember his name, but he was with MUFON, and he's like, we can't debunk this. And not long after that, literally, when I say not long, 2 days after I snapped that picture, I was upstairs in my bedroom. I was in my big garden tub taking a bath. It was about 10 something at night, maybe 11 at night. I heard ice cream truck music, and I'm like, a little late for that,
right.
But I could go for a snack. So I looked out the window, and this was the second story up, and I didn't see anything. I'm like, well, if I'm hearing music, I should at least see lights or something.
Right.
There was nothing there, but it literally sounded like it was right beside the window. And that, to me, is unexplainable. So I don't know if anyone else out there who's ever seen anything, has ever heard of anything like that, but I am absolutely terrified of clowns and ice cream truck music now.
All right.
That's all I got.
That is fantastic. So I'm seeing some of this stuff come up from the back. So I'm going to go with Rosie first. And Rosie's saying, I heard people see a lot of UFOs in Florida. I wonder if it's because of the Bermuda Triangle. I
have the Bermuda Triangle in North Carolina than Florida.
I have a very smart-ass comment for this, but I'll keep it to myself. But it very well could, because there are a lot of sightings throughout the Bermuda Triangle where they tend to see. I mean, they talk about a lot of geomagnetic happenings right there that is tied, and they try to debunk it by saying it's simply a gravitational or earth pull. But if that were the case, especially with what I do, we would know more about more places like that, not just one location. Right. So it very well could be tied to something with the Bermuda Triangle and the history of the Bermuda Triangle and why so many things disappear there. So that's a very good possibility. Trying to catch up on all the comments now. Rosie saying, say my smart ass comment. I'm like, okay, fine. It's because there's so many old people there, like the movie of Cocoon. So that's why it happens right there. You're welcome. She told me to. And Jason said, no big worm rolling through.
Oh my God.
Told me to. And Rosie also said she just saw an orb or something small fly by my camera. Interesting. I did not see it. Mostly because I'm reading messages and also focused on Angie, so I really don't pay attention to my own picture over here where I'm at. Melody said a creepy ice cream truck, so that's what she got out of that, was creepy ice cream truck. Fantastic. Hold on, let me go back to some of these other ones.
That's me up. Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people who are afraid of clowns, who are afraid of stuff like that, especially after they see the movie It. They're like, nope, we're not playing this game anymore. No. I have so many movie references. It's crazy. Zhang is asking, because we went back to basically blocking your own energy so people can't see it. She says, do you have to be able to practice Reiki first? Absolutely not. That's not something you need Reiki for. I have never practiced Reiki a day in my life. I've had it done a couple of times. Nikki practices Reiki. I think she's 1 and 2. But I do not practice Reiki at all, and I can block my own energy from others if I desire to. Really, it is simply just turning yourself inward. You're in your mind's eye, you are actually shutting everything out that can reach in to look at you. You're putting up your wall, you're putting up your steel shield, you're putting up whatever you want, that anything that tries to come in literally can just bounce off of it. There's no return coming back to them for all the energy they're going to use to try to get through you. But when someone speaks, they release an energy. And regardless of how small that release is, allows me to break into that energy field. So if I say hi and they say hi back, I know what their energy is. It's very simple. It's very simplistic as well.
I got you.
What's that?
You're like, okay, I got you. I'm in your house.
Exactly. As soon as you open your mouth to say something and you utter anything, I know what your energy is. So it's pretty interesting how that works. Yes. And Rosie says, I try seeing a block wall. Like I said, it just has to be whatever you want to identify as blocking from others being able to see in. Now, just fair warning for those of you who do not understand this, what we're talking about right now. When I see your energy, if I am walking up behind you, I do not need to see your energy from the front of you. I can identify your energy. It's not from your face, it's from you. If I have to break through that wall, it's simply because I have to have them say something for me to allow an opening through their four-sided wall. So just know that people do not need to look at you to understand what your energy is, at least face-to-face. They can understand it from any way. A lot of times when I walk by and I see somebody, it's almost like their entire body puts off an aura to me, and it allows me to see what their energy is. So I don't just see happy, sad energy. I see angry, good people, bad people type of things all over the place.
That's one thing I can't do. I can't see auras.
And I couldn't until someone said, "Hey, can you see my aura?" And then literally, Nikki and I were talking to our friends, Kat and William, offline, and I just got them having them on my show, and I said, "Hey," and we were talking about something, and they said, "Well, can you see our auras?" And I went, and I blinked for a second. I go, "Yeah," and Kat goes, "You can see my aura?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Since when?" I go, "Since you just asked if I can see your aura." And she's like, "What color is it?" And I told her, and she's like, "Son of a," and she goes, "What's Will's?" And I told her Will's, and she's like, "God damn it." So she was all mad because I was right. I'm like, "Well, then don't challenge me, dummy." See, and Rosie says, "Yeah, you've seen mine." So, and Jason says, "That's been the strangest for me." So yeah, it is.
Like, come at me sideways.
Yeah.
I'm good up here.
Right. And Stuart's asking, can I see it from our written word? You know, Stuart, sometimes I can. It's very odd. I pick up on energies from writings, from images, from objects, from a lot of different ways. For some reason, I can pick up on energies. Zhang had the wonderful experience of identifying this when we were talking about something that traveled with her, that was with her, and it was an energy of her father. Never saw it, didn't see her. She just simply wrote, "Can you see what's walking with me?" And I said, "Absolutely." And it was simply because she wrote it that I was able to see the energy that was walking with her, and what her energy was at that time. She was. I don't want to say she was in a panic, but she was very anxious to help identify what was walking with her when she walked outside in certain areas. And it just turned out to be her dad when they walked together in these certain locations. Yes, and Rosie said when I was on the show, the color was golden. Yes. Now understand, people, that auras. There are multiple lines of auras. You always have your core aura, which is your house aura or your living aura, and then you have multiples that can layer outside of it. And those are normally associated with emotion, mood, whatever they are. And those will adjust. But your main aura will never change. It's always your color.
What's mine?
Right now I can't see yours because you're on a black background with too many distractions. I literally have to be able to see it on a plain background. Helps me out better. But if I have to focus on yours really quick, which I'm doing right now, it's going to be a red. Don't ever challenge me. No, just kidding. It is. Yours is a red aura. Now, the other question that always comes out is, well, what does the color mean? I don't know. You just asked me what your aura was. I don't know what it means. So you have to go out and actually look at your color of aura. But right now, you actually have a red aura that's standing out right now. And it's not because of the lights behind you, because the lights behind you flickering would actually give off an orange aura. That's the too obvious one. The orange is not your color right now. You're actually red, and it's a very dark red. Just so you know.
Thank you.
Yes. Rosie says, I can see trees, houses, and power lines, auras, and it's white. Yes. They put on their own energy source. And Ajay says, yep, Tom always helps me. Absolutely. That's kind of what I'm built to do, apparently. Yep, and Melody says, yep, I see red as well on you. So she's just confirming what I'm seeing on you is the red one. So thanks, Melody. And yes, and like Jason's confirming, yes, it will change as well. Yep, sure does. Yes, Melody, that's what I'm saying too. Her aura is red. Absolutely. That's what I'm seeing as well. So, well, crap, we've been talking now for about an hour and 15 minutes.
I know.
So I actually want to say this is a good place to stop because I want to bring you back at another later date.
Yeah, I don't want to tell everyone.
Right. So I think I'm going to end the show here, but I want to thank you for coming on. Again, for everybody out there, if you want to go check out what her store is like, it is right here. CrescentMoonSoaps.com.
And don't be confused by the soap cart. It is now.
Yes.
I got to fix that somehow.
But Jason's going back to saying they will also change the amount of static and the amount of it too. I would say a Cooper, but it's a copper. yeah. But yes, so I want to thank you for coming on. If anyone is interested, go checking out her store before she clears out all of her crystals to try to get rid of whatever is living in there. Honestly, I will tell you, if you don't want to get rid of it, you don't have to. It's just going to be an annoyance, and you're just going to be recognizing it as it happens. You really do have a child. And it's just going to be in your store. And and I'll tell you this offline, but I'll tell everyone else stuff so they kind of get in a sense of what you're about to go through. Right now, it's that 2-year-old child because it's brand new still to it. It's, the time lineage doesn't recognize there, but it will slow down in your store, but it will always be there if you don't want to get rid of it. But if you do, then I'll tell you offline here in a couple of minutes how you're going to get rid of it. Stuart's saying thank you very much. Melody's saying mahalos, much love. Rosie's saying thank you. Angie, Tom, everyone stay safe. Have a good week. Zhang, thank you for reminding me of this. She says, do you remember when my cell phone was taken over by a spirit? After you talked to me and gave me advice, the spirit didn't bother me anymore. Your energy is awesome. So I had to help her get through even the spirit in her phone that was taking over her phone and making it ring and do all this weird stuff. So I helped her get rid of that. And so it's nice that it actually helped. Thank you for that.
Ironic, I call gremlins.
Nikki saying, Angie, it was great having you. Get to know you. It was a wonderful show.
Oh, thank you.
Saying, great show tonight. Zhang, thank you for the show. You both are awesome. Tom and Angie, much love. Thank you very much, Zhang. Primal, have a loving evening, everybody. Nikki saying, thank you for seeing everybody. It's great to see everybody tonight after my long hiatus that I've been on. And Rosie is also, she's looking at, but Rosie's also saying, I think your store has energy from your crystals. That's why it could be there. I think that's why it's still there, because that's what it's feeding off of.
Wow.
But I have a way for you to get rid of it. Good night, everybody. Do me a favor, Angie. Do not leave. I'm just going to throw you backstage so I can talk to you.
I'm not, because I want to do this again, because I didn't realize that it would do that.
Right? When you put that up, it throws them all over the place. Absolutely. But thank you again for being on, and I will talk to you here in a second. I'm just going to close my show down and let everyone know what's coming up next. So
thank you.
Good night, and I will see you in a couple of minutes.
All right.
All right, everyone. That's my welcome back show. Hello. Thank you for coming back on and visiting with us and dealing with all of our squirrel moments. We had a lot of them tonight, which is fantastic. I believe I was correct in who my guest is, but I will make sure, just to be sure, so I'm not throwing anybody off. Remember, I'm running every 2 weeks now, not every week. I lied. Wow, I was way off. 27th of May, I actually mentioned her name tonight, but Connie Koenig is going to be on my show. If you have not had a chance to check out Connie Koenig, it's CAHNIKOENIG, Connie Koenig. She's actually part of the same team I'm on for the Paranormal Existence Research Society. I believe she's part of the Warren Legacy Foundation as well, and she does a lot of wonderful and amazing things, has awesome gifts. She's going to be on my show in 2 weeks. So please come back and visit that. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, you say you know her. Yeah, she's known in a lot of areas, so it's fantastic. Her introduction alone is going to take up most of the hour. Just be aware. I tease her about that all the time. But yeah, she's going to be on in a couple of weeks. She'll be fantastic. After that, I am actually breaking my own rules, and I'm going to go back-to-back weeks. Actually, back-to-back weeks, because after Connie, I am doing a collaboration with Horsefly Chronicles. We're basically to combine our StreamYards together. So you guys are going to be able to see me on her show. They'll be able to see her on my show. So we're going to do a collaboration show together. And that's going to be on the 3rd of June. And then the 10th of June is Patti Negri. That was mentioned by Angie earlier. If you do not know who she is, you are in for a treat. And I say that because I am not really knowing who she was when I was first introduced to her. And I will let you know, I've still kind of kept it a mystery to me of who she is. I haven't really researched her because I want to be surprised. Just as I was, I know most people are really weird about this, but just as I was when I met Andrea Perrin, I had no idea who she was outside of the little girl from The Conjuring. I asked no questions beforehand. I did not do any research until she was on my show because I wanted to be surprised about her answers. So that's what's coming up. starting 2 weeks from now. Other than that, stay safe. Much love, as y'all know. And feel free to ask questions. Share this out with other people. Like, follow, share, like I always ask, because this is a community that needs to be growing and needs to know that we are out there to help support them. And we are not expecting anything. We do not need anything. We are just here to help. So other than that, have a great night. Much love, everybody. And I will see you soon.